Oding Sanchez was one of the last hostages the National Liberation Army, or ELN, was holding in the jungle, a former congressman who last year swapped places in captivity with his sick brother. The group is seeking peace, but the government said it wouldn't start talks until all the hostages the ELN was holding had been released. In a tweet, President Juan Manuel Santos urged the ELN to stop forever what he called the unjustifiable practice. For decades, the ELN financed its insurgency by holding government workers, foreigners and civilians hostage. It was inspired by the Cuban revolutionary Che Guevara and was founded in 1964 by trade unionists, students and priests. Its goal has been to redistribute Colombia's great oil and mineral wealth so that it benefits all of society and not just a distrusted elite. And it especially distrusts the multinational companies that help extract that wealth. Its commander-in-chief, Nicolás Rodriguez, joined the army at just 14 years old, and he now leads 2,000 armed guerrillas, far fewer than the main FARC rebel group, which has already reached a peace deal with the government. But there are signs that it may take the ELN longer to reach a deal than the FARC. Rodriguez has said that setting a deadline for a peace agreement is tantamount to obstructing it. Analysts also point to big differences between the two rebel groups. The FARC is an army trying to practice politics. The ELN is a political organisation trying to wage war. In other words, the ELN may have a small number of armed fighters, but its social base is much larger than that of the FARC. They are in many more urban places than the FARC. The numbers are shocking. 8 million people were victims of the 52-year-old war. 7 million were displaced, 151,000 are missing, 264,000 were killed, and 30,000 were kidnapped. The FARC peace deal is already being implemented. 80% of its 6,300 guerrillas have travelled to transition camps. There, the long process of disarming and demobilising them has begun, in the hope that they'll eventually reintegrate back into society. But many fear that criminal gangs and paramilitary groups will move into the territory the FARC guerrillas used to control. And if that happens, Colombia's violent history is likely to continue, even after the peace agreements are signed.